All right, as we read this paragraph the first time, let's just try to keep it dumb, right? I don't need to understand every nuance of the experiment. I do have a maybe specific thing to focus on, and that's what is this rancher guy doing here? What's his purpose? So I can focus on that, but I'm just going to try to keep it as dumb and as simple as possible. So let's see. What's my dumb summary of this paragraph? Ken settled on the chukar partridge as a model species, but he might not have made his discovery without a key piece of advice from the local rancher. Okay, might not have made his discovery without a key piece of advice from the local rancher in Montana who was supplying him with birds. So the rancher gave him advice. So that's good. When the cowboy stopped by to see how things were going, Ken showed him his nice, tidy laboratory setup and explained how the bird's first hops and flights would be measured. Don't care. The rancher was incredulous. He took one look and said in pretty colorful language, "What are those birds doing on the ground? They hate to be on the ground. Give them something to climb on." So, okay, he's disagreeing with the experiment in some way. Okay. At first, it seemed unnatural. Ground birds don't like the ground, but as he thought about it, Ken realized that all the species he'd watched in the wild preferred to rest on ledges, low branches, or other elevated perches where they were safe from predators. They really only used the ground for feeding and traveling, so he brought in some hay bales for the chukars to perch on and then left his son in charge of feeding and data collection while he went away on a short work trip. Okay, so he changed the experiment. That's the key piece. The rancher gave him advice, and then he changed the experiment in relation to it. So my dumb summary, the incident involving the rancher mainly serves to explain a change. Is that poetic? Is that going to be my actual answer? No, but it's meant to capture the most basic version of what's going on, and now we can analyze the choices with that in mind. So let's see. Reveal Ken Dial's motivation for undertaking his project? No. It's not about his motivation. We're talking about the rancher. We're talking about the experiment. I don't know why he's motivated to do it. Didn't come up. B, underscore certain differences between laboratory and field research. Well, here's a good example of why my dumb summary helps. They do seem to talk about like some difference between what's going on in this experiment and what Ken Dial observed in the wild. But that's not the main point of the rancher here. The rancher isn't like, actually, when you didn't look at the birds in the wild, they do this other thing, but your experiment is different and it affects the birds in some way. No. He's saying that no matter what, no matter where we are, the birds, they hate to be on the ground. So underscore certain differences between laboratory and field research. This is too broad. This isn't a question about science. This is a question about this particular experiment and the change that the guy did. So this is too broad, too strong. It's not about research. It's about this research. C, show how an unanticipated piece of information influenced Ken Dial's research, this particular research. So that seems pretty good. And what was the unanticipated piece of information? Well, it was something about the birds being on the ground. It was the advice that the rancher gave. Okay, so that seems good. Let's look at D, though. Introduce a key contributor to the tree down theory. Well, no, it's not really getting into the specific theory. The rancher is not like a scientist advocating for a particular hypothesis here. He's just like looking at some birds and being like, hey, you should, get them off the ground. And then the actual scientist listened and followed that advice. So C matches much better with my dumb summary. And the choice also gives us more specific words to think about. And so we can smarten up our dumb summary by doing that. And we can go back into the past and say, oh yeah, was it unanticipated, right? Like, what else about these choices matters? And so that's why we start dumb, is we just want the most basic thing. The choices are going to give us more specific things to care about. We're not going to be able to kind of guess those things very well just by reading the passage. So let the choices do it for you. Because at the end of the day, the choices are also summaries. And the choices are going to be better summaries than you'll ever write, especially in the moment when you have, a time constraint. So why bother, right? And plus, your summary, even if it is good, might be different from the summary that's provided by the correct answer. So what's the point of stressing over it? Keep it dumb, keep it simple, and then let the summaries that they give you get tested against your dumb summary and against the passage when we start looking at more specific, narrow words.